Happy Monday. Welcome to the live. This is part 2 because I just went live and it didn't. I guess I was on mute, so I couldn't be heard. So now I have to do it again. So if you're catching this, you are catching a live replay of the consult that I talked about today that I had regarding a client wanting to start her business. So let me go from the beginning. So I'm Chastity. I am the owner of Grady Tax Plus, where I help counselors, coaches, and influencers who are new in their business understand their business structure, their taxes, keep their finances organized so that they can feel confident in knowing that they are saving both time and money. So today we are talking about business startup. Why is it important and why you need to go through the steps I'm going to take you through. I'm going to take you through 6 steps that you need to take in order to make sure that your business is properly set up. And so with the new client consult that I had today, I do offer business consults so that you can get information that you need in order to get your business on the right path. So we had a consult today discussing what it takes to file for her a PLLC. And a PLLC is for people who have licenses that they have to have in order to even do the work that they do. So for her, she's a nurse practitioner. So she has to have a license in order to do that particular job, which means that she would have to file a PLLC, which is it's the same as an LLC, but you have the professional in front of the limited liability company name. So in the beginning, whenever you're starting your business, it's important to talk about the name, to discuss what name. A lot of people get caught up on a name. I don't know what the name of my business, and all of those things are very valid, because when it comes to your business name, you want to make sure that you don't have a business name. And hopefully y'all can hear me, because like I said, I just did this live and I couldn't be heard. But anyways, I'll find out at the end. But when you have your business name, you want to make sure that, especially in the state that you're in, it's really important that nobody else has that business name in that state. So you want to make sure that when you file your business name, that you choose a name that no one else has in that state, because even if you try to choose a name that's similar to someone else's in this state, the state will actually reject your name. They won't even accept it. So that's why it's important, and that's why it's a valid concern why people do get caught up on their business name, what to name their business, because if you don't name it correctly, then that can hurt you later on down the line. And so like with this particular client, she didn't really know what name she wanted to name herself, so she thought about just using her name with her license and then the PLLC. And that's not uncommon when it comes to people who have an actual license to do the work that they do. You can file your business name with your name, with that license. For example, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so if I wanted to have a counseling business, then I could file my LLC with Chastity Grady LCSW PLLC. That's typical for most people. But what we did talk about was the differences between DBAs versus LLCs. A lot of people like to use DBAs as an exception of using LLCs or getting LLCs. They like to get a DBA instead of an LLC, and that's where issues come in, because you don't have any kind of legal protection when it comes to doing that. So one of the things that people should be using DBAs for is if, for example, let's say I named myself Chastity Grady LCSW PLLC, and then I later decided, okay, the name I actually want to be known as is Chastity Counseling Services. And then what I could do is go to my state and say, Texas, yes, I am Chastity Grady LLC, LCSW PLLC, but I want to do business as DBA Chastity Counseling Services. So that's where that would come in at. So we talked about that. So then after you decide on your name, because that's important, and I talk about in my LLC course, at least 5 places that you need to check and validate your name, because not only you want to make sure that it's not in Texas that someone has your name, if you're in Texas or whatever state you're in, you want to make sure that it's not nationally known, and you want to check other areas to make sure that nobody else is using any kind of social media handles or anything like that, because then you're going to have to change up how you should use your social media handles. So that's important. So after you decide your name, then you have to move on to the Registrar Agent. So with the Registrar Agent, you want to make sure that when you file your LLC, that you are not putting yourself as a Registrar Agent. When you put yourself as a Registrar Agent, you make yourself liable for being at that location that you said during business hours to accept any kind of legal mails, any kind of subpoenas, or any kind of important information that needs to be distributed to you. You are liable for being there. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so if you go on vacation, the state doesn't care that you took a vacation and you wasn't there when they deliver something to you, you would get in trouble for that. So that's why it's important to not put yourself as the registered agent, as well as not putting your personal address on the LLC application. Okay, so whenever you hire a registered agent to be a registered agent, that registered agent should also give you the option to use their address throughout the whole LLC application. So that means putting their address as the business address, and for you as the managing member of the business, because you have to put yourself as that. If you're the manager, well, if you're the owner, you're going to be the managing member of the business. Then you put that address down, so that you can keep your you can keep your private information off public record, because whatever you put down on that LLC application, people can look it up and find where you live, especially if you put your home address. I had that happen where a client, she came to me, she said, hey, I found my LLC, and I said, great, I looked it up online. I said, we have a problem. You have your home address public, and then you're your own registered agent. Here's the form you need to use to change that. Okay, so again, making sure your name is validated, and then making sure you do not put yourself as a registered agent. You use a service to do that, and then you don't put your home address on the application. Okay, that's a no-go. And then once you have those two figured out, then you want to go through the actual PLLC or LLC application, depending on which one you're doing. Once you do that, then you have to get your EIN. Now, people think that because they have an EIN with their own name, that they don't need one for their business name, and that's not true. So whenever you get your business bank account, the bank account is going to match your business name with a social security number. For businesses, it's called employer identification numbers. So if you give them a document with a business name, and you give them a document with the EIN that does not have that business name on it, it has your name, then it's not gonna match. It's a mixed match, okay? That's like me applying for a job and giving them my name, Chastity Grady, and then giving them somebody else's social security number with their name on it. That's a no-go. So you have to make sure that you have your own EIN for that business name, so it can match, okay? Match and identification. Now, once you do that, you do want to make sure that you have an operating agreement, because whenever you do get your business bank account, most banks require you to have an operating agreement, which is a legal document. And in my LLC course, How to Start Your Business from Scratch, I give you a free resource on how to get your operating agreement, so that you don't have to pay a lawyer hundreds of dollars. I actually paid a lawyer to do my operating agreement for me. Well, not do my operating agreement, but to get the legal template so I can fill in information. And it's the same document that is for free online. And so I will give you that resource, okay, in my course. So let's go back through the steps. So 6 steps in order to file your business, get your business set up correctly, validate your business name, getting a registered agent, and then actually filing the application for the LLC, and getting your employer identification number, okay? After you do those 4 things, then the next step you want to do is make sure that you don't have to have a license or certification in order to operate that type of business. So for example, in the case of the client I met with today, she's a nurse practitioner. In order to be a nurse practitioner, you do have to have a license to operate a business. So she does have her license, and there are other types of licensures that you're required to have depending on the type of field that you're in. So if you're a massage therapist, if you're an occupational therapist, whatever kind of field that you're in, you may have to have a license in order to go into business for yourself. And some states require that you do get the PLLC, which is that professional limited liability company, as a result of having a license or a certain type of certification. So in my course, I do give you a resource on how to determine whether or not the business that you're starting requires you to have a certain type of license, okay? And then after that, once you've validated your business name, you've gotten a registered agent, you filed your LLC, you've obtained an EIN, and you've determined if you need any kind of license, Then the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you do not need, or if you do need, any type of sales tax or any type of permits to operate your business. So if you're like in the food industry, there's certain type of permits that you have to have. If you're selling physical products, digital products, if you have taxable services, some services that you provide can be taxable and some can be non-taxable. So there are resources available on the state's comptroller's website to let you know if the services that you're providing, if they are taxable. And if they are taxable, you have to have a permit for that. Sales tax permits have their own tax returns. So that is important that you get that, because whether or not you generate sales or not, and you have a sales tax permit, you still have to file those tax returns with your state. So that's important. So again, as a recap, I talked to you about six steps that you go through to make sure that your business is properly set up so that you're ready to go, okay? Make sure the name is right. You don't want your name being similar or the exact same of someone else's name. You don't want people getting confused with your business name. You want them to know that if they're coming to Grady Tax Plus, they're coming to me, not to somebody else, okay? And then after you figure out making sure you validate your name, you want to make sure you get your registered agent. You want to make sure that your personal address is not on the LLC application, okay? And then once you do those two things, then you're ready to actually file your LLC, which is you putting all those, the name, the registered agents, and the address on the application. And then the fourth thing that you do is that you get your EIN, because you have to match your business name with the employer identification number. You can't use the EIN that you have for your name, because the bank, when you get your business bank account, the banks wants to match that business name with its own EIN, not with an EIN that has somebody else's name on it, even if it's your own name, okay? After you get your EIN, then you make sure that you see if you need any licenses, and then see if you need any kind of sales tax permits or any other permits to operate that business, okay? So if you're someone who wants to see how you do these things, I gave you the what, but if you want to know exactly how you do these things, how do you validate your business name? There's at least 5 places that you need to validate your business name. If you need to figure out, what registered agent is best for you, or determine how to find one, how to fill out the actual LLC application, I give you a live walkthrough of exactly how to fill it out on the Secretary of State's website. And then not only that, how to do your EIN. A lot of people fill out their EINs incorrectly, okay? So I give you a live walkthrough on the IRS website of how to fill it out, as well as how to determine if you need a license and how to determine if you need any types of permits or sales tax permits. I give you a full walkthrough live in my course, How to Start Your Business from Scratch, okay? It's only $97 currently, and I do have the link posted above, but I will put it in the comments. So make sure that you tune into my future lives, because we're going to be talking about taxes and bookkeeping, and how to write off things in your business, what's considered a write-off, what's considered tax deductions, and how to keep your finances organized. So again, we talked about business setup today. If you want to jump on a call with me, get a consult, then I do have my calendar link as well, linked above, and my link tree, so you can schedule a consult. And if you're ready to go ahead and get your business set up, then the course is there for you to set up as well. So I'll see y'all in my next lives, and thanks for watching.